y'all, and welcome to Trials to Triumphs. I'm Ashley Blaine Featherson Jenkins, but you can call me ABFJ. This week, I had the joy of speaking with someone I've admired for a long time, actress and singer-songwriter Naturi Naughton-Lewis. Our conversation covered a lot, but what I walked away with was a new perspective on extending grace and making difficult choices to move forward. When she was chosen as the final addition to platinum-selling R&B group 3LW, Naturi never imagined what would come next. But when life took a turn, she made the tough decision to leave the group and start all over again. Naturi held on to the belief that no matter what things looked like or felt like in her darkest moment, God had even more in store for her.
It took me a decade to actually start to realize I am not that girl anymore. And whatever happened to that girl, whatever happened in that group doesn't define me. You know what I mean, Ashley?
Wow.
So I felt like I had to let it go and just, even I sued the group 3LW, by the way, to get money that they owed me. I said, you know what? I told my lawyer, drop the suit. I don't even want it. I don't even want their money, because I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be okay, because God is so good. He's going to allow me to make that money in times 10 by building my own self.
It wasn't easy, but Naturi can now see how these trials and difficult choices paved the way for her biggest triumphs. From finding love with her husband to reconciling with former 3LW group member Adrienne Bailon.
I was like, you know what? I'm just mad at the version of that girl from 15. I'm mad at myself from 15. I'm mad at the versions of what we were. But I can't be mad at the grown woman. You know what I'm saying? So we sat there and we talked about everything. It was like healing. I mean, it was tears.
Wow.
It was like, girl, we actually could be friends.
Sometimes in life, we all face realities we never would have imagined for ourselves. Instead of resisting, we must learn to roll with the punches, to move with our challenges, and allow God to prepare us to receive more than we could have ever asked, thought, or imagined. And in our Sankofa moment, Naturi shares the legendary performer she would have loved as a mentor.
Because she was so regal and just also just legendary. You know, in a time when it wasn't easy being a Black woman and an actress and breaking down barriers and being a leader.
Hi, Naturi.
Hey, what's up,
Hi.
Ashley? How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to the pod.
Ashley Blaine Featherson Jenkins.
Naturi Naughton-Lewis. I love it. Look at us with our hyphenated names.
I know.
Did you really do some back and forth in considering it, or did you always know you wanted to hyphenate?
I always knew I wanted to hyphenate. I guess at a certain point in my career, I did. Because I'm really proud of being a Naughton. It's, my family's from St. Croix. That's my father's name. And just like the Naughton family. So I was always, I guess at a certain point, I was like, I just love the double N. Naturi Naughton is, I guess it's been my name. And I always felt like when I get married, I'll probably, because I always looked at people like Jada Pinkett Smith. And, so I was like, ooh, that sounds good. And then meeting him, and I was like, ooh, I could see a Lewis at the end of that. Naturi Naughton-Lewis.
I love it. No, I felt the same way. I felt like, I had been a Featherson. I'm the last one too. So after me, there's no more Feathersons.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's important to carry that name.
Yeah, it's really important. And just thank God we both inherited last names that fit with our original last names, because no other last names would work. Naturi, do you remember when we met?
Ooh, gosh, I feel like it was before Dear White People.
Yeah.
Before you did Dear White People. Did you just live in New York?
No, I never lived in New York. I think we met here. I think we met here at an event
in LA.
But I think we were always kind of connected on Instagram, and we finally met in person. It was just a complete love fest. Because the thing is, Naturi, I've been a fan of yours since 3LW. I remember, Naturi, I could not wait to tell you the story. I remember
Aw.
my grandmother would always give like a stocking stuffer for Christmas. And it
Yes.
was I remember she had asked me like, well, what do you want for Christmas? And all I wanted that year was the album. I was like, I need the actual album, the 3LW's debut album. And I remember I cried when I opened my stocking stuffer. And
Are you serious?
Oh my God. Here's the thing. You have to understand like what type of girl I was, right? I was, I was a teenager. I had been singing. I was a performer at that time. And so to see this group of women that I felt like looked like me and my friends, it was and the album I still listen to the album. The album is so good. Like the vocals are amazing. The production is, just out of this world. It was just, for me, it was like a representation of everything I wanted to be. And especially you, because I saw myself in you, this confident, beautiful, dark-skinned woman that was so multi-talented. I just was like, wow, dreams do come true. So I truly have you to thank for a lot of that, Naturi. I couldn't wait to tell you. Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. And it's so funny. A lot of people come up to me saying stories similar. And I'm always like, really? Like, because I was a teenager too. Yes. I was a kid. And for me, you don't always realize the impact you have when you're in it, and I'm sure we still kind of feel that even as actors and actresses. But it's definitely one of those moments in the culture. 3LW represented young girls of color. Yeah. I was, of course, the chocolate girl. So we, to feel celebrated. And I'm glad that had some influence on you. And look at 20 years later, here we are living our best lives with amazing careers, amazing husbands.
It's amazing.
And it's just God is
God
good,
is
man.
so good.
Thank
so
you.
That's what I want to get into. You're about to get into just how good God has been to you, truly. I have a bit of an icebreaker question, like a little fun question. Okay. So who is your favorite rapper?
My favorite rapper, I would have to say Lauryn Hill, only because I feel like she raps, sings, and it's like kind of what the culture is doing now, but Lauryn was doing it forever. I guess male rapper would be Biggie. Notorious B.I.G. is still one of my favorites. Like any song, the party just goes crazy. And we just celebrated, I think he would have been 50 this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I live in Brooklyn, so it's an honor that I got to be a part of such an iconic film like Notorious, but for sure, Biggie on the male side and Lauryn Hill as a female.
I love that. Naturi, let's get into the beginning. Where do you call home?
East Orange, New Jersey, born and raised. So shout out to all the Jersey people out there. I live in Brooklyn. I've lived a few places, especially in this crazy career. Yes. I've fallen in love with, Brooklyn for sure, but I'm a Jersey girl forever.
What would you say East Orange and Brooklyn, New York, have given you?
Ooh. Well, East Orange, growing up in Jersey and East Orange, it was definitely the inner city. It's actually where Whitney Houston was from, Queen Latifah. It's very close to Newark. For those of you who don't know East Orange, it's just like another little hood next to Newark, New Jersey. It gave me a sense of confidence. East Orange was the first place that I ever sang my first solo, New Hope Baptist Church in East Orange. I would say that if it wasn't for the love and the pushing me, you got this, you can do this, oh, that little girl can sing, or that little girl is talented, I may not have believed that it was possible. So thank God for East Orange. When I moved to Brooklyn, which was 2013, I booked the show Power. At the time, I used to live in LA, and they were like, oh, you got to move to Brooklyn, for the job. And I was like, yes, I'll take it. And I love being close to Jersey anyway. So I was ready to come home. So Brooklyn has given me this really cool chic sense as a mother and as a wife, because I became a mother, season 4 of Power. Life-changing, the energy, I think the ability to double task, New Yorkers learn how to do multiple things at once. So I definitely enjoy being a mom here, being a wife here, meeting my friends. Brooklyn is everything. Prospect Park, and it's just such a vibe.
I love Brooklyn. Brooklyn, I was just there for a
Yeah,
job too. And I mean, the best way to describe it, I just felt alive. I just was it's so lively.
exactly.
It's so,
It's very energetic.
it's just, I just would exhale the whole time, and the food and the people and the
Hmm.
parks. Like you said, it just was,
So
I
good.
just always feel good whenever I'm in New York. So you grew up singing in New
Yeah.
Hope Baptist Church, which is the same choir that Whitney Houston grew up singing in, which is just, I mean, I, I don't
Well,
even.
it's pretty crazy. Actually, New Hope that I went to is East Orange. We're sister churches.
Oh.
People always get that mixed up. So Whitney grew up singing at New Hope Baptist Church in Newark. I grew
Mm.
up singing in New Hope Baptist Church in East Orange, just to make sure I
But
make the
but
distinction.
it's the same people for both.
Yeah, like family.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but they're two separate churches. So yeah, so when I actually got to sing for Sissy Houston at Whitney's church for a separate like church, I don't know, occasion. And I remember being there and just feeling the energy and being like, oh my gosh, like Whitney once sang, and she's been my
Wow.
inspiration since I was little. So it's just crazy to be from somewhere and see this brown woman, like you were saying about 3LW. That's what
Mm.
Whitney Houston was for me.
Wow.
I was like, what? She's beautiful. She's brown. She can sing. She can act. I wanted to do everything like that. And her career actually gave me the ability to see that it's possible
Mm.
and that I could do it.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool growing up singing in church. You know, I used to sing in a choir. That's kind of how I got discovered, I guess.
It sounds like you were someone who, like me, knew what they wanted to do pretty early on. How did you recognize it at that young age? When did you know? What was it? Was it something that happened? Was it a day in the choir? Was it a solo you did that bit you with the bug of like, this is what I want to do? And then how did that lead to you getting discovered?
That's such a good question. Yes, I am definitely one of those people who was 5 years old, like, I'm going to be a singer and an actress. I already know. And even my friends are like, okay. And I grew up like in East Orange, and people, sometimes it feels far fetched
Mm-hmm.
if you don't live in Hollywood. And I was like, oh, this is going to happen. So I remember around 5, I wind up getting a solo for a song. It was a song called I Can't Forget. It's a song called I Can't Forget what the Lord has done for me. And I sang that solo, and I had to stand on like, a little step ladder for the church to even see me, behind in the choir, because I was so little. And they taped 2 microphones together. It was like 2 mics together because I was so little. And I took that mic, and I never forgot that feeling when people in the church community, in the congregation stood up and was like, sing, baby, you better sing. And I was like, oh, but I was really just enjoying myself. And when
Mm.
I opened my eyes, I was like, oh my gosh, people are crying, people are moved, people are shouting. And then, shortly after, I kind of started doing local events, church events, different things. But it was really singing the national anthem that got me discovered.
Mm.
I used to sing the anthem at so many political events, but I got an opportunity to sing for the New Jersey Nets.
Mm.
And for those of you who don't know, before they were the Brooklyn Nets, it was the Jersey Nets.
Yes.
So at 13 years old, I won a contest, and I essentially sang the anthem. And then somebody heard me, and they asked me to audition for a group.
Wow. And so, okay, so then you say someone heard me sing and then I got into the group. Was it really that easy, or was it like multiple rounds? What happened in between?
The person who was kind of the producer, manager of the group asked my parents, can she audition? We're putting a group together. We didn't even have a name yet, just for people to know. It wasn't 3LW.
Mm.
The name of the group was actually originally called Little Women, but we couldn't use that because of the book
Yeah.
and movie. And there was like, yeah. So then we had to change it to 3LW, which really stood for Three Little Women.
Mhm.
I originally was like, I'm a solo artist. Sorry.
Wow.
I never wanted to be in a group, real talk. I always wanted to be like, like Whitney.
Yeah.
But what happened was I said, sure, why not? I mean, I got to get my start somewhere. So I went and I auditioned. It was very kind of easygoing. In the living room, I sang For You I Will because Space Jam had just came out. And For You I Will was the song at the credits.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then they were like, okay, you're in the group. We need you to move in and, leave school. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot. But I did wind up moving in with the other girls, Adrienne and Keely was in the group already. I was the third and final member. And that's kind
of, wow.
So I was the last to join.
So everything happened very fast. And then it was just like your life completely changed. And your parents. Yeah, so talk to me about your parents. Like, what, were they always on board? It was very hard for them.
Well, no, they were always on board with like my dreams of, performing, singing. They supported me 100%. They put me in dance lessons. I was in chorale, vocal lessons, piano. I wasn't just thrown to the wolves. They had given me a lot of tools, thank God, to actually be prepared for the blessing.
Yes.
The hardest part was for my parents to let go. I was 15. And the challenge was like, to be in this group, I had to kind of start homeschooling, leave regular high school. I wasn't at home anymore. I was living in someone else's house and care, which is crazy. I would recommend it.
I can imagine. Like, wow. What was Naturi's biggest challenge at that time? Like personal, like internal challenge. When you look back at Naturi at 15, 16, 17, what was her biggest hurdle?
Ooh. I would say her biggest hurdle was trying to get everyone to like her. I was constantly trying to figure out, well, if I can adjust myself, maybe they'll like me this way. Or maybe if I do this, maybe they'll like me more. Or if I can be funnier, like maybe I'll be liked. I was so consumed. And if I wasn't liked, I was like, wait a minute, why don't you like me? Like, please like me. So I was really, I think, consumed with that concept of being liked, which caused me not to be true to myself at times. Yeah, that was a big one. And just figuring out my own self-worth. A lot of times we determine how beautiful we are, how special, how talented we are based on what someone else says about you. And I was a teenager, so there was a lot of things. And, the music business is shady as hell.
So I've heard. I know, girl.
There are so much story. But it was a lot of things it was like chipping away at my self-esteem. Chip away. And if you allow it, it can destroy you. And before you know it, you're like, I'm not pretty. I'm not good enough. My complexion, my lips, my body type, like my height, my voice, my raspiness, like everything about me was being kind of criticized. So that definitely put me in a position to start thinking, well, if I can do this, they'll like me. If I can do this. So that was a really bad, I think, habit.
It's exhausting too. I mean, just even hearing you say it's exhausting. Ooh. Like it's unsustainable because the truth is you can't convince anybody of how to like you or how to love you or how to appreciate you. You actually said, on the Breakfast Club last year, you said, when people don't know how to deal with your light, you just have to wish them well. And is that a lesson that Naturi learned then, or is that a lesson that Naturi learned a little bit later in life? And where did it come from?
Oh, much later.
Ooh, okay.
Way later in life.
Wow.
Like maybe like last 10 years, Ooh. Like maybe actually even in the last 5 years. Where did it come from? Honestly, when my daughter was born, I really began to embrace my light because I recognized, first off, the miracle of motherhood. And that experience changed me, obviously. And then meeting my husband, like when she was around 1.5, almost 2, I really was like, oh, wait. So if people are intimidated by your light, like, oh, I wish you well, but I'm not about to dim my light. Not for you, not for anybody, boo. Because my light is a God gift, and when God gives you a gift, I'm not about to hide it or bury it. we all have the light. We all have something special. We all are beautiful. And in the last 5 years, maybe 7, I started to like figure out, oh, I'm pretty amazing. And I don't have to like compromise for anyone. And particularly in motherhood and not worrying about what other people feel or say. And then also in relationship with my now husband, it was like, oh, even from a man, you learn how to receive that love and not dim your light just because he's not secure.
Wow. I want to go back to your time in 3LW. You know, to that from the outside looking in, Naturi, you looked fearless. Like everything was right. You're happy. You're thriving. Everything's just peachy keen. Obviously, now that I'm older and in my 30s, like it's almost like, how could that even be the case? You know, the life of a teenager, it's like a teenager living the life of an adult. That has to just be incredibly difficult.
With a lot of adult pressure.
Ooh, it has to just be incredibly taxing. But what I want to know is, still at a young age, how did you know? I want you to really tell me, how did you know when it was time for you to move on?
Honestly, I knew that it was time to kind of let go and remove myself, the toxicity in that environment. But also, I was honestly starting to feel kind of depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm a very joyous, happy person. So like when you start losing your joy and your excitement and your fervor
Your light.
for life.
Your light.
Like literally. But I was always that way as a kid. I was always like, hey, like, you know, excited for the day. I was always a social butterfly, very talkative. I started to be afraid to speak. Like that, everything was fear-based. And when I started to see myself like shrinking, or there was so much, you know, like infighting and toxic energy from the management, and it was things that I started to see like, gosh, like, is this my forever? Like, is this kind of my career for the next 10 years? You know, and I wanted to be successful. I mean, we were successful, but I wanted to be like Destiny's Child or TLC. Like, we wanted to have that. At least I did.
Yeah.
And then it was like, wait a minute. I don't think I can do this with this level of unhappiness.
Oof.
Right around the time I turned 18, I was questioning, like, because I wanted to go to college. I wanted to explore the world. I want to be a mother. I want to be happy. And I was still young, but I knew that some of those things didn't align with the energy I was in. And so I was like, oh, y'all trying to kick me out the group? How about this? I'm out. Peace. Deuces. Because I just don't want to live and be successful, but be this unhappy, because success is not, it does not have to be this way. So that's kind of why I chose to leave off the road. You know, I went back to my house in East Orange. A lot of people thought like, oh, you rich, you got it. You know, you popping, you was just on TRL doing a video, Play is Gonna Play. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm broke.
Wow.
Living in my parents' house in East Orange, applying to college.
Wow.
And then I just went to college like a normal girl.
How long did it take you to heal from leaving and from the feeling of, and from knowing that maybe they were trying to make changes in the group? How long did it take for you to be able to maybe let that go?
That took me like a decade. In all honesty, the first 5 years of healing, it's like, oh, I'm good. Like, you know, but I told you I went to college. I was like, you know, years of just kind of having to adapt from people saying like, wait a minute, why don't you have anything? Why aren't you out on the road? Like, they just did this without you. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I'm just trying to go to Seton Hall University and be a poli-sci major. So, which is what I did, study political science. But I was definitely like, I don't know, I think I was still bitter. I was still hurt. I was still angry. I was still, you know, humiliated in front of like friends and family. Because, you know, everyone thinks, oh, you made it. And then it's like, wait, but no, I didn't.
Yeah.
So that was 5 years. And then the next 5 years trying to transition into being an actress. even though I was, I had booked, I had got a Broadway show, Hairspray. And then I was like, okay, well, at least I'm working again.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was definitely starting to heal, but it literally, honestly, I think I've still been healing, but it took me a decade to actually start to realize I am not that girl anymore. And whatever happened to that girl, whatever happened in that group doesn't define me. You know what I mean, Ashley?
Wow.
So I felt like I had to let it go and just, even I sued the group 3LW, by the way, to get money that they owed me, like so much money that I never got. And then it took me a few years I said, you know what? I told my lawyer, drop the suit. I don't even want it. I don't even want their money because they tried to say they were bankrupt, but I didn't want it because I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be okay because God is so good. He's going to allow me to make that money in times 10 by building my own self.
Wow, 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 wow.
So that's what I did. So I dropped the lawsuit and I never got a dime.
You know what? Here's the thing. This is what I'm learning about you is a couple of things. But one is that you are someone who does what they say they're going to do. Period. And I think that is beautiful, Naturi. And I think I think maybe it was a form of protection you had to build throughout your life, especially being in the spotlight so young. You had to be a woman of your word. You had to be a woman of integrity. You had to do what served you best because there wasn't always a time when you were protected in that space. And I just think that's even you understanding that there was energy that you no longer needed that was attached to that suit. You said, I would rather drop it and wait on God to bless me than keep energy in something that doesn't serve me.
Because it keeps...
Yeah.
And it's draining.
Wow.
It's so draining.
Yeah.
So that was a big step. And I literally, I appreciate you saying that because at the time I felt like, dang, like I'm really losing out, but really I gained freedom. When I let it all go, I became free. My career was open. My heart was open. My mind was open.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a game changer.
So I saw recently that you and Adrienne Bailon got together. I don't know if it was a lunch.
I was waiting for that question.
No, honestly, Naturi, I reposted it.
No, I was literally like, everybody's been talking about this.
Well, so I want to hear what you have to say about it, but I'm going to tell you what I saw.
Okay.
Being someone who, as you know, was a big fan of the group, someone who has been so proud of seeing where you and Adrienne have gone in your careers, and grown as women. For me, it was nice to see because it was a symbol in my mind of forgiveness, of letting stuff go. Whoever you were when you were 15, I would be willing to bet you are not the same women now. And there is grace that has to be given for that. And sometimes it just has to take time. You have to give time. You have to allow yourselves to grow and gain new life experiences and become a mother and get married and all of these things that you can look back and say, what was going on? Exactly. So that's what I saw. And so for me, I was like, I literally remember looking at him. I think I gasped and was like, wow, like this is the example you want to see. I think we live in this society where we are attracted to the drama. We're attracted to people being separated, from people having beef, and from people going after each other on Instagram and saying mean things. So honestly, I shouldn't have been as shocked to see it because that's what people should be doing.
But it is shocking.
It was shocking. And so I think what I want to know from you is, how did that come about? And how do you feel now that you guys have I guess talked or some sort of reconciliation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way that came about was I was a guest on The Real virtually when I was shooting Queens. And I think it was Adrienne who had suggested to have me on as a guest. And the producer's like, she's really, really wants Naturi to come and talk. And she's just so happy for her. And we had met years ago, like 5 years ago when I was pregnant. She had apologized on The Real, but that was a long time ago. And I wasn't really, I received the apology, but it wasn't, you know, the same. We never stayed connected. So this particular time, they were like, you know, and Adrienne's, you know, sends her love and it was like, would love to connect if you're open to it. And I was like, you know what? I don't know. I just felt an energy from her that was different. And then I was like, I asked my publicist, can you get her number and I'll shoot her a text or something like that. And they sent her number and she was like, she's really looking forward to talking to you. And I was like, okay, cool. And it actually took me like months to reach out because I was still like, you know, nervous. So I had the number, but I never actually used it until like, I don't know, like maybe like 4 or 5 months later. And we kind of just started in a text capacity because you know how you're getting to know somebody that you knew, but that you kind of.
I just had this experience recently. Yeah.
Did you really?
Did. Oh, something very similar just recently happened.
You're still like trying to figure out if the energies even match. But I just felt like, you know, I was happy for her and her marriage. She was happy for me. She congratulated me on, you know, wedding. And then it was my birthday. So my birthday just passed May 20th. She sent me a text and was like, you know, I always remember your birthday since we were kids. Happy birthday. And her husband's birthday is a day before mine. And I was like, oh, wow. And I kept saying, like, I'm going to just say, like, you know, we should get up for lunch, but I was nervous. And then at that time, when she texted me for my birthday, I was like, you know, I'm in New York. If you're ever in New York, she was like, I actually am in New York. I was like, let's just do dinner or lunch or whatever. So we went to Dumbo House. We met. It was actually an amazing meeting. Yeah. It was all of what you saw. It was all of the energy that you got from the picture, forgiveness, healing, you know, moving
accountability,
accountability, maturity, love, respect. And as women, we don't do that enough. Yeah. I mean, so many of us will hold a grudge for years. And I was like, you know what? I'm just mad at the version of that girl from 15. I'm mad at myself from 15. I'm mad at the versions of what we were, but I can't be mad at the grown woman. You know what I'm saying? So we sat there and we talked about everything. It was like healing. I mean, it was tears. Wow. It was like, girl, we actually could be friends.
Wow.
And the truth is we recognize that the adults in that situation, you know, our managers were not very nice people, just to be honest. And they manipulated us as young children. Yeah. And when you realize that the adults are over it, pulling strings, we were like, oh. So I think we hugged it out. We took that picture and we were like, oh gosh, if we post this, people are going to go crazy. But it was love. And I'm so happy for her because I think she's in a happy space in her life. And I think she's genuinely happy for me. So, you know, unfortunately, we put 2LW and people took that the wrong way. We're like, oh, y'all trying to be shady with the two.
No,
it wasn't
I didn't get that.
It wasn't at all. We literally are two of the original 3LW. We actually are going to do a double date with my husband and her husband. Oh my
goodness.
Soon,
Well, so that's the thing, Naturi. I also just want to thank you. I'm actually really happy that you were led to share it. Because it was a picture you could have kept private and nobody would have known. But the thing is, that set an example.
But it represents something.
It shows that there is redemption should you want it. If you are willing to try, if you're willing to get to know a new version of somebody, you know, now had you guys met and there was still the same ridiculousness from 20 years ago, then no, it would have been different.
That would be different.
But that's not what happened. And so it is to show, look at how far we've grown. And also, this is someone who's known me for so long. Like, you guys came up together. Like,
we grew up together.
Truly. I was like, wow, this is an example. I'm so proud of these women. And I mean, I'm sure it felt even though you might not have been walking around lugging a weight, there's still energetically just a exhale that comes along with that.
It was actually really refreshing. And I thank God for me, my spirit of forgiveness for healing, because you also have to want it too. Like, I don't want it. And I don't want people who may have a similar situation to see us, you know, like you said, we lead by example. It's your choice to let that go. It's your choice to choose forgiveness.
Yes.
It's your choice to choose happiness. And a lot of us will stay in that dark place when we really don't have to.
Well, I'm so proud of you, sis. I just want to say, sister to sister, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Naturi, tell me what's next in career.
I'm directing. I directed a short film called Behind the Smile that's actually airing this summer on BET.
Congrats.
Her. Thank you. I learned a lot. But also, I think for me, career-wise, is doing more community outreach things. Like, I want to use my platform to inspire other people in relationships.
Yes.
You know, me and my husband are putting together some really exciting things for like newlyweds, but also people who've been married for a long time, people who are engaged. We want to just inspire families again, particularly Black love and Black families, and seeing people of color be celebrated. The way I felt at my wedding, I was like, everyone should feel this way. If that's what they, if that's what you want.
I love that. I love you talking about like all the goals and dreams that you and your husband have. I want to know how were you able to recognize the beauty and the love and all that God had for you in your husband?
I was in a really exciting time in my life where I was learning to love myself. So I could recognize like beauty in others and share love with others. But I did have to go through a time where I had to heal from, just the relationship with my daughter's father. And also just recognizing that I was kind of like on my own as a mother, which I never dreamed I would be. And I'm super old school and traditional. So I just honestly wanted that version of life for myself, but that's not what God gave me. And I had to accept it and move on. And I became an amazing mother. I was still working on my show Power. I was breastfeeding and pumping while on set. Child, I was Superwoman. And once I realized like, oh, I can do anything. The next thing was like, okay, I'm open to love and light in my life. So when I met my husband, I was at the studio. Omari Hardwick, my TV husband, introduced us. And it was such an organic, honest friendship. And he became my best friend. And he was such a gentleman and so clear about what he wanted. And that to me, I had never experienced because he was like, we started dating, he was like, he was courting. And he let it be known, I am courting you, honey. And I was like, oh, is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
And I felt so special. So the way I recognized that this is the one for me was not only how he loved me, but how he made the choice to also love my daughter and to be a father figure in her life and to step in. A lot of times it's hard for a man to step into a situation that's already been present. And he received me, received her. He just celebrates me like honestly every day. And that kind of relationship, friendship, that's when I was like, oh, I'm marrying this man. Like I already know. And he said the same thing about me. There's an equally yoked feeling. Our wedding and our marriage and our friendship is based in God first. And we love each other as a trickle-down effect from God's love. That's it. Point blank, period.
Well, Naturi, this is what I love hearing. To me, your journey to marriage is truly trials to triumphs. Like you said, like you went through a season where you were like, God, this is not how I wanted it to go. It's not how I envisioned it. But God said, wait, just wait. Wait, you have to see what I have for you. And now just to see where you are, married to your best friend. He's a wonderful father figure to your daughter. He supports you in all that you do. He sees you for the fullness of who you are. That was worth waiting for. And I can see it all over you. I truly can. So, Naturi, tell me, what has been your takeaway from our conversation today?
I would say the biggest takeaway, honestly, was that what you said about how I was like an example or in some way a leader in the culture, even from 3LW on. But look at how like you were watching me and I was struggling in that girl group and not feeling beautiful. I would have never imagined years later, you and so many other women particularly have literally said, you have made me feel beautiful. You let me know I could do anything. You let me know that my dreams were possible, you know. And I'm like, really? Because I was like struggling. And I'm just keeping it all the way real. And it's amazing when you see how much your life can influence and inspire others' lives, other people's lives. And so I guess the biggest takeaway was that lead by example, because that was one of the things you said about forgiveness. And a lot of people follow, you know, what we do, the both of us. And if I know that I'm being followed, I have a responsibility to lead by example. So if I make choices to be petty or to not forgive or to act a certain way, I mean, it kind of fuels more negativity. But if I make a choice to be positive, to forgive, to inspire, it fuels more positivity. And so that's something you just taught me, and you know, kind of you reminded me of that today. So thank you.
I love that, Naturi. And it's, I mean, I meant every word. You've been an example for me for truly, I mean, since my teenage years. And I'm so grateful. I mean, it's so full circle to be sitting here with you now.
I know it's crazy. It's just crazy.
So I would say that my takeaway is the reminder to make difficult choices in life. I think you've made a lot of difficult choices, Naturi, and you didn't know what the outcome would be, but you trusted that it would that it would land you exactly where you were supposed to be. And I think that I just really needed the reminder that sometimes it's not going to feel good. It's going to be uncomfortable. And it's not going to maybe make sense to everybody else. But if I'm led to make the decision and God is telling me to move, then I need to listen and wait on the blessing that's on the other side. So that truly is my takeaway.
Sure.
Yes.
That's a word. That was a word. I said, okay, come through, Ashley Blaine Featherson Jenkins with the we need the choir to come out because that was a
Naturi,
word.
You're the choir. You are
she
our choir.
Over here giving sermons.
You are the choir.
I'm like, Jesus loves us. No, that was amazing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well,
but thank you.
Thank you, Naturi. I just want you to know that I love, respect, and honor you. I really, really do. And I support you.
Thank you.
Wholeheartedly. I always have, even before we knew each other.
Same.
And I always will. After the credits, Naturi shares the petite but powerful actress she'd want as a mentor. Stay with us. Thank you for listening. This podcast is produced by LWC Studios for OWN. The show's executive producer is Juleka Lantigua. This episode was edited by Marilyn Williams and Jordan Cowling. Sound designer is Cedric Wilson. Managing producers are Camille Stennis and Paulina Velasco. Assistant producers are Michelle Baker and Shanice Tyndall. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, and we hope you did, please make sure to subscribe, leave a rating, and review wherever you listen to your podcast to ensure you hear the next one. So, which historic performer would you have loved to have had as a mentor?
I don't know why. The first thing that kind of came to my mind, like, because she was so regal and just also like, just legendary, Ruby Dee. I would have loved, as an actress and as a woman, and her and Ozzy, and just, again, the married couple in this industry. I would have loved both of them to mentor us, but particularly Ruby Dee, because, you know, in a time when it wasn't easy being a Black woman and an actress and breaking down barriers and being a leader, but also this strong, tiny, because I'm very petite. She was very petite. And I'm like, I would have loved to just chat with, you know, the legendary Ruby Dee and how her and Ozzy just survived this industry together.
That's great. That's a great answer. Shout out to Ruby Dee and Ozzy Davis.
Yeah,
they were like, just absolutely like
amazing.
Legends. They are absolute legends, truly. That was a great answer.